back to the Working Class Revolt, and today I want to talk about the UK and its future of energy. Now, with the new government, we've heard a lot about GB Energy. That is going to create lots of green energy, solar energy, wind energy, hydro energy, and it's going to be more expensive for us all, but eventually they claim it will be cheaper. Now, with gas and electric prices soaring year on year, any news to me of prices going up is simply bad news. So the question I want to ask today is, should we, as Ed Miliband has announced, stop drilling for oil and gas in the North Sea? And also, should we be re-looking at the use of fossil fuels like coal? You see, we hear the argument time and time again that coal causes lots of CO2 emissions, which is bad for the environment and will endanger the planet. But you've all heard the arguments that the United Kingdom uses less than 1% of CO2 emissions globally. So even if we stop altogether, countries like China, Russia, India, the United States, who are all building more and more coal plants, it won't make a difference. It really won't. And the United States now claims that the coal that they use causes barely any CO2 emissions. Now, my perspective on this is a simple one. If at this time the UK does not have the technology to go green and it will cost people more and more money, it would make more sense to use fossil fuels like coal, especially with only using less than 1% of global CO2 emissions, and look at technology, and when the technology gets better and better, if it's cheaper for its people and it's better for the environment, and then we should switch. Now, coal has many benefits. We have coal all year round. We can take it from under the ground. We can make electric with coal. We can make gas with coal. And what we can do, most importantly, is we can then sell that coal and make money for the country. We can grow the economy. We can give people jobs. So I do agree that coal is probably a dated way of doing our energy. And I'm not talking about every household having a coal fire. I'm on about having the coal plants that create the coal and then turn it into gas and electricity. Now, in the past, what the United Kingdom have been guilty of doing is claiming that we're using less and less coal, but what they actually mean is that we're importing it from other countries. So we import things from other countries and claim that our carbon footprint is better. Now, year on year, more and more people, especially the elderly, die because they simply can't heat up their house. We've had the news of the winter fuel payment being cut, which is going to put people in extra poverty. So what is the big reason that somebody like me and somebody like you can see these benefits, but the establishment and mainstream media won't even touch it? So could it be that they have more knowledge than us and they know that we really are going to destroy the planet? I don't think so. I don't think that's the case for 1 minute. I think it's simply going to come down to massive taxation on the working class of the UK. We've already seen in places like London and now coming in here in Manchester, a tax if you drive your car and it gives us too many CO2 emissions. You'll be charged around £10 a day just to drive your car or your van or a bus or even a retired person's camper van just to drive it within that whole area. Now, the Greater Manchester proposed one would cover all 10 councils in Greater Manchester. You wouldn't be able to drive in and out of any of them without spending £10 a day. And what do they do with that money? Does that money somehow save the environment? No. They've admitted, the Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham, that they're going to charge us to make an incentive to buy a better vehicle. Well, I've got news for Mr Burnham and any other one of these mayors or the Prime Minister. Anybody driving an older car is probably because they can't afford a newer car. So by taking more money off them, you're making it more likely that they can't afford that dream car that they've always wanted. And again, who are you taxing? You're taxing the working people. You're taxing the plasterer or the bricklayer who's trying to go to work to earn a living, the guy in his older van who's coming taking the rubbish away, or the gardener. And again, it's the Labour Party and the Labour Party's mayors who are taxing the British people. So that's what I think a lot of this is behind. Now, I'm sure there'll be more to it. But at this moment, as I look, I can't see any benefit to the United Kingdom at present without the technology in place without driving up prices, which, mark my words, will happen. Electricity will go through the roof with this new GB Energy company that they're setting up. And then they tell us it's owned by you. Well, let's be honest, what difference does that make? If a company's privatised who supplies our energy, or it's government owned, it might... A government owned business, we have no say in either, so I don't understand that argument. I think that is just purely smoke and mirrors. We're also told that they're going to put a heat pump in all council houses and social housing up and down the country. Well, my job as a local councillor here in this borough is when our council did a scheme to put the heat pumps in, all what happened is those residents' electricity went through the roof. They had to have a generator put outside. They then had a big water tank and these gigantic radiators put in, and was told you have to leave it running all the time. Your radiators will only get warm, but by being on all the time, your house will heat up. As you can imagine, this was 3 years ago, before the price hike went up. They was paying thousands of pounds and getting themselves into debt. So again, another point that doesn't make sense. For me, it's simple. Let's start using coal again. Let's create jobs. Let's sell that coal around the world and make money, and let's give our people cheap gas and electricity until we come up with better technology. Now, another one I'd like to talk about is fracking. I've always been very opposed to fracking because you see the videos on YouTube about people turning the water on and it's setting fire. We now hear claims that that's not true. But one of the benefits from fracking is, you look at the United States of America, they actually got themselves out of a recession and fully dependent on their own natural resources through fracking. So that's something I'd like to know more of, to see the benefits of it. And see if they outweigh the negatives on it. But please let me know what you think. Do you think we should go back to using fossil fuels like coal? What do you think about fracking? Or do you think that by stopping all drilling in the North Sea and looking to basically pander to just stop oil, that the country is heading in a better direction? Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.